And I bet you don't know what this is. Or perhaps you do. Why don't you have a guess in the comments? Now, if you love all things flower arranging with a little bit of craft and visits to the charity shop, this is the perfect place for you. And why don't you consider subscribing to my channel? All you need to do is hit the red button marked subscribe, and that means next time you open the YouTube app on your phone, your laptop or your computer, one of my videos will be waiting for you. I bought this strange device, work of art, at the Antiques and Vintage Market, which is held in my hometown here in the southeast of England on the first Sunday of every month. But do you know what it is? I knew straight away, but the storeholder didn't. So I was able to share a little bit of my knowledge with him. Yes, of course, it's got something to do with flower arranging. It's a flower frog. And I'm wondering whether it was sold in this upright position, because all the ones I've ever seen before have these legs bent upwards so they lodge inside a windowsill vase. Like this. I reckon my flower frog must be coming up to 70 years old and probably has never been used before. Now, rather interestingly, this one here has got a piece of plastic on the bottom. I always thought that might have been a little bit of flower arranging putty, something that would have stuck the flower frog inside the vase. But looking at it closely, I think that's probably some kind of rubber sucker that's just started to degrade over time. So having solved the mystery of the flower frog, if I was going to use this, I would have to be really brave and lift up the legs so it would fit inside one of my windowsill vases. Now, I was lucky enough to find this flower frog. I think it cost me £6, and I have previously bought windowsill vases with the flower frogs inside. But I've also made my own, and this was a lockdown project. And if you're interested in finding out how to make your own flower frog based on the design of the vintage flower frog that I've shown you, I'll leave a link to that video in the description underneath this one. And that looks like a work of art too, doesn't it? I keep my windowsill vases on a high shelf. Now I've decided to get the use out of them. I should bring them down from the shelf and use them as part of my everyday life. Otherwise, what's the point in buying them? And when I turn my vase over, I can see that this is made in Dartmouth pottery in Devon, here in England. I thought to myself, I've seen that maker's mark before. And lo and behold, I've got another Dartmouth pottery vase here. And then I thought perhaps I've got a third. Is this Dartmouth pottery too? It's certainly the same colour, but when I've turned it over, the maker's mark says H.O. Birmingham 4986. So this one is an imposter, but I love it all the same. I bought it from an antique shop near my parents' house. This must have been 10 or 15 years ago. And because it's got a slight chip here, I only paid 50p for it. I paid a little bit more for this one. I think it was £8, and I bought this from one of the vintage stores in town one Christmas, perhaps 3 or 4 years ago. I was doing some Christmas shopping and bought myself a gift. And whereas my Birmingham vase is quite large, I thought this is a much more manageable size. This at the bottom says Dartmouth, Devon, England, and it's got the pattern number 137B on it. And I think the B refers to the size of the vase. I think they made them in size A, B, C and D. I absolutely love this colour, but I don't know what the shape's called. Perhaps you know more about Dartmouth vases than I do and can tell me a little bit more about this container. I'm just noticing that the little legs of the flower frog are fitting into that little dimple there at the base of the handle to hold it in place, so the flower frog would sit firmly without needing any more tape to hold it firmly in place. Now this vase here is a monster vase. It is absolutely huge. And if the vase I've just shown you was a size B, I wonder what this one is. Does that make it an A or a D? There's no mark at the bottom, but I have been able to find out a little bit more about this shape. It's called the London Bowl and was designed by Leo Lewis in 1954. I've got this lovely light green colour, but it also came in ivory and jade. Do you think that's jade? Now, I'd love to be able to tell you where I bought this vase from. I cannot remember. And I'm thinking it might have been the mega haul that I got from a car boot fair last summer. What I'll do is I'll leave the link to the playlist for my charity shop thrift haul videos and see whether you can flick through them and tell me where I bought this. If it came from the cart boot fair, it would only have cost me a couple of pounds if I bought it from the lady that I'm thinking of. And if it came from the charity shop, again, I'm not quite sure how much it would have cost me. It's strange that this one hasn't imprinted itself in my mind, but it has got a couple of quite large chips on the top here. Although because I've never actually used this vase before, I don't know whether it's watertight. So that's going to be today's project, to make an arrangement using my vintage flower frog and to see whether this container is watertight. Fingers crossed that it is, and then I can start to enjoy it as a beautiful object with or without flowers. And if you find that your vintage vases leak, you've got two options. One, never use your vase ever again and redonate it or throw it away. Or two, make use of it, but make sure you rest the container on a dish underneath, a plant saucer, something like that. And now for the moment of truth. Will my vintage vase leak or not? What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. Ta-da! And there is my finished arrangement. Now, if you are a member of my YouTube channel, and you'll know because you're paying a monthly fee, I'm going to show some extra bonus footage for you now, showing you the full DIY tutorial of how I put together this tulip arrangement. If you're not already a member of my YouTube group, it's really easy to join. All you need to do is to click the description underneath this video, and then you'll find all the joining details there. That's all for me for now, and I'll see you again next time.